What's going on, nerds? It's your nerd overlords here, back with another Nerdcast podcast.
We have returned to you, our loyal subjects. So it's good to be back.
Oh man, I don't know why loyal subjects just made me think of Attack on Titan because that's what me and Cassie are watching. She cried last night.
Dude, yeah. I mean, it's a heart-wrenching show. But again, like I've said multiple times on this podcast, it is a comfort show for me.
Did you possibly guess the part she cried at?
Can you tell me what season you're in?
3,
Okay, so season 3,
near the end.
probably watching Armin burn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
look, I looked over and she's like, and I was like, "Are you crying?" He's like, "Yes, your stupid animes."
Why are you getting me invested in all these characters? Like,
And
because
then
it's
he got
worth it.
mad because
Right.
I was like, "Aren't you happy?"
It's like they did the same thing with Aaron. It's like, well, yeah, but like,
I mean,
why not?
I even almost cried the first time I watched that. I was like, "Oh man, this is art."
Mhm.
No.
Oh, dude, I still get worked up at moments in that show.
Mm. I was watching it too for the second time. I was like, I mean, because I never rewatched it until now. Like this is the first time I'm watching the English dub.
They have a great crew for it, man. Because like you can almost not even tell the difference. I feel like,
Honestly, it's like I don't feel it. Yeah, I don't really recognize the difference at all.
right?
Armin's voice and Aaron's voice, like they're all their voices sound like they're supposed to. I feel like.
Mikasa too. Like literally everyone was casted so perfectly.
Hmm. Yeah, who
But
plays
man,
Mikasa, they really do put that behind all
yeah,
her.
y'all, dude, badass queen, man, top of the top, top of the top.
Yes, Mikasa is that chick. She is that that scout. That's what
Right?
I want.
Like she would kill me in no time at all.
Oh man, and also
I couldn't even
watching
react.
rewatching Levi.
Oh yeah.
I was watching the other show with a guy named Levy in it. Wasn't an anime, but but no. First order of business. Is Twitch coming to an end? Uh,
It's I mean, it sounds like it's having a rough time right now. They let go of a lot of people.
yeah, I mean their
That
goal
sucks.
well, let's for those of you that don't know, Twitch is laying off another 35% of their workforce. Uh, they announced it, um, their workforce and around 500 workers, and announced in December that they will be shutting down its office in Korea because they virtually make no money apparently, and their Korean office has been basically bleeding them dry. It's way more expensive to keep it running,
Yep.
and the reason for the losses comes with the departure of several top executives. So that is another reason why. And I read that Twitch had paid out over $1 billion to streamers last year. So
Damn.
maybe
Damn.
they
For
do.
them to like say, "Ooh,
Yeah, they
that's
have to
interesting."
reassess this business model and then try
Yep.
to do something different because what they're aiming for is to rebuild and try to restructure it in the next 3 years. So I'm guessing if they don't get a hold of it and like figure something out, they probably will be going under.
Yeah, more than likely. Because I'm damn, that's so oof. Like that's literally the amount that they would need probably to keep the Korean office going and like making a profit at the same time. So like no wonder they had to close that office. Not to say that the streamers don't deserve it, but like damn, that is a lot of money.
And apparently, streamers are putting in work.
Yeah.
But I
I
mean,
mean, we try to like get this.
exactly, right? Yeah, Twitch, after they emerged in 2011, they became a huge juggernaut in the streaming game, obviously, YouTube, Facebook as well. But there's a lot of streamers leaving Facebook because they feel like they're not getting a fair shake, not getting, paid adequately. And, it seems like sometimes Facebook stifles your growth, like your reach will become stagnant and you hadn't changed anything you've been doing. Not a your posts aren't getting as much reaction that they have been. So people are leaving Facebook and going to Twitch and Kick as well. Kick is a new streaming service that emerged over the past year, and they are doing very well apparently.
Well, it's good to hear that. I mean, a new group is kind of stepping up. Hopefully, yeah, Kick will be able to sustain it. It'd be interesting to see how that will make the overall streaming world more competitive. I think that will be a good thing because I feel like a lot of the like streaming groups that we work like that are out there, and including some of the gaming industry, like overall, have been kind of getting stagnant with each other. But I feel like a big catalyst, or like they were basically like at a plateau of like competition, but then the catalyst of Microsoft buying Blizzard Activision was a huge step to the gaming like competitive world to kind of take off again. But unfortunately, there's been a lot of layoffs because a lot of groups are saying we want to restructure. We have to like do this for the sake of our company. And it's like, yes, as a business thing, yes, that makes 100% sense. Like, because you want to sustain your group, you want to be able to keep doing what you love. But man, like there's no there's no easy way to like pick a side. But hey, hopefully things get sorted out, and we'll just kind of see how it goes.
Yeah, because obviously we tend to side with streamers,
Mm.
but we also do need a place like Twitch as well, because Twitch has been, very good for, people building their brands and things like that. I read a
Right.
quote from the CEO, Dan Clancy, who said, despite cost cutting throughout 2023, Twitch is still meaningfully larger than it needs to be given the size of our business. Last year, Twitch paid out over $1 billion to streamers. So while Twitch business remains strong for some time now, the organization has been sized based upon where we optimistically expect our business to be in 3 or more years. So yeah, yeah, they're can't say they're not trying,
Right.
but maybe Twitch just boomed a little bit more than they had expected to.
I mean, yeah, as as the first real competition for like YouTube, yeah, 100%.
Hmm.
But now, and Twitch has lost a lot of streamers over the years due to new rules and regulations. So that's also something to think about. Like Twitch is a company that's been trying to continue to grow and evolve. So I guess it makes sense if they would lay off a decent amount of people just to be like, fuck it, we need to start over. Because like the amount of people that have been kicked off for amount of different things, and more than a majority of them have been 100% deserved. Like, but yeah, we'll see.
And
We'll
also,
have to wait and see.
like Unity also having another massive layoff. Another 25% of workers will be losing their jobs there. I mean, we all know the story behind Unity from the last or last few episodes ago that we did, talking about how they were stifling, the indie lower gaming development companies, their growth and not giving them their fair share.
Right. And man, like it that one hit hard just because it's like, well, who do you trust then?
Exactly.
Especially if you're an indie game like designer, like really trying to get your foot in the door, it makes you very skeptical about like which third parties you really want to work with. You're like, oh man, like yeah, Unity would be a great step forward, but then look at what's happening. So who knows like how many different people you end up being like working with. And like what if like the really talented person that you enjoyed working with is now let go by Unity? So you're like, like, do you back out from Unity, or do you just stay and hope that some other group is going to potentially offer you something, but then you could run into the same problem? It's it's tough, man. But yeah, Unity kind of screwing over these indie developers is just awful to see.
Yeah,
Like we're supposed to be like a united community. Your name is Unity.
it's Unity. What are we doing? What are we even doing here?
What's going on? Let's go to the whiteboard and figure this out.
Yeah, so the massive success of the video game industry in general last year may have had something to do with it with those massive titles coming out such as Jedi Survivor. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right here on the game I was just getting ready to say.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3 as well, and then Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
Still a little crazy that Spider-Man 2 did not win a single award, but that's
Yeah. Still wild.
that's an old story.
Yep. And I think what hurt them the most is they didn't have a new game plus soon enough. I think that's truly what hurt them a lot.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed replaying it, but the new game plus would be really nice to have right now just because I'm like, I don't want to have to re-earn these suits again.
And then I saw something that they were talking, they were thinking about adding multiplayer aspect to Spider-Man 2, and then they scrapped it. And instead of them just not saying anything about it, they told us about it, and now we're just like upset we never got it.
Yeah, they're like, so we had this really cool idea for like a two-line co-op. It's like, what?
Like a Spider-Verse type deal. It looked pretty cool.
Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, I would love that. That sounds amazing right now.
But
But
speaking of video games of last year, what was your top three video games of last year?
top three video games of last year. So I would have to say Spider-Man 2 would be my number one. Just because overall I do enjoy I enjoy any story-driven game,
Mhm.
but the way Spider-Man is laid out, even though it's a very like linear story for the most part, besides the parts where you split off to like kind of like branching off. Like it's basically literally like a tree branch where you're experiencing the different stories at the same time. Like I think that's really cool. I just love how very simplistic it is, but yet they still fill it with a bunch of heart-wrenching moments. Moments are like very happy moments. Basically those moments that are going to be drawing you into the whole verse itself, whether you're very well known in it, like in our group, or if you're new to it and you're like, yeah, I'll give Spider-Man a try. I don't really know anything besides like the Marvel movies where Tom Holland plays him, or like the people that only saw like Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield watch it.
Yep.
Oh, like it was a game that like just knew how to like draw you in to make it kind of give you that the nerdy feel of Peter Parker that's so appealing, I guess. Because I think Peter's probably one of the most relatable superheroes
Oh
or
yeah.
like identities.
Exactly. I mean,
So
he's always going to be a fan favorite, especially due to the '90s cartoon Spider-Man. We just saw,
right.
especially with our age group, I'd say, not overall, because I don't know those numbers, but if you
Right.
watch Spider-Man,
I'm not looking it up.
if you watch Spider-Man in the '90s, you know, chances are, it's one of your favorites. Especially when the game
Yep.
came.
I rewatched it recently and I loved it. It was a great experience. Didn't necessarily hold up, but it was very nostalgic.
Oh yeah, I mean, me and my son will watch it every once in a while. I mean, that intro still slaps.
Yep, forever.
It's still tied with, X-Men intro. A lot of people just give it to the X-Men intro, but they're like neck and neck.
That's
They got the same feel, that same electric guitar going on in there.
good. Yep.
It's just Spider-Man kind of feels a little bit more futuristic, where the X-Men theme sounds more like conflict driven, like it's a actual like war going on. If just like
Right. Dude, the buildup is perfect.
Hey, what's your number two game?
So number two, that'd probably be Baldur's Gate 3, because let's be honest, it truly does deserve Game of the Year,
Mm,
because the overall ability for you to just create you such unique characters is a huge, huge draw for me. I love that like minute detail that they give you over making your D&D character look exactly the way you've always pictured them. So like for those of us again, that nostalgia feeling, kind of like we were talking about with Spider-Man, that feeling of playing D&D with your group of friends or playing Pathfinder or whatever type of like D20 system game you've played in the past.
mm,
So being able to like get that feeling in a virtual sense where you still get to play with your friends online and you get to see their characters and the way they went with things. It's so cool. Um, this is exactly what Diablo 3 I think needed to be,
mhm.
or like the newest Diablo that was released at least. I think it needs to be a little bit more like that. Like, yes, it's really cool that they stayed true to Diablo. Like Diablo is still a great game, but this was just miles ahead of it.
I
They
think
were just like,
I think what kind of hurt Diablo, which not it wasn't like a big detriment to them, but the uh
mm,
the season passes.
right,
Like I it threw
where
me off
it's like
a
it
little bit.
like restarts your character. Like when they first like were like after they released the game and they're like, hey, so now that this first season is gonna come out, you guys start over from scratch. And it was like, what? This is
And,
like,
and honestly, that in my me getting older, the one thing that'll make me take a long extended break from a game is like starting over. Like if I
mm,
accidentally delete a profile or something, or just what they're doing where they reset you. I
right.
just I'm just like, all right, I had my fill. I might be back at this. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you,
Hmm.
how many acts did you finish in Baldur's Gate?
Fucking not even the first one.
How many characters
I kept
created?
how many characters I've created? Probably eight so far.
Same. I've I neared the end of Act One, and I have five characters created. So
Right. I get distracted. I just get so distracted that I'm just like, I forget where I'm at, and I'm like, fuck, I feel like I need to start over. And that's exactly what I do. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, I might as well.
I didn't like how I did this. Let's just redo that whole thing. And your number three.
Number three, number three would probably have to be. Oh, that's kind of tough. Probably, it probably would have to be Jedi Survivor. In all honesty, I'm actually replaying it now.
I saw, what's
um,
me, I actually never finished it, which I plan on
no,
playing it again. But the reason why, I'll just go ahead and go into my list because
yeah.
of my number one game. I mean, just for me, it's not. I don't think it's the best game, but my favorite game from last year was Hogwarts Legacy.
See, that was like gonna be my third.
That was my favorite game. I was just so excited about being a wizard, and then the dueling aspect was just
Yeah,
uh,
really cool.
so well done perfectly. Sometimes I would just like before I actually finished the game, I just got on the broom and just rode around the entire thing a bunch of times, just
Right.
whatever. Like, it's such a good game. I
I
mean,
love the animal collecting that you can do. I
yeah,
just love that
very
aspect. I'm like,
long.
this is
It's
dope.
just exactly what we wanted in a Hogwarts Harry Potter esque or Harry Potter game.
Right.
They really did it up in that game. Like
It,
from
yeah.
whatever type of wizard you wanted to be, like whether you wanted to collect animals and stuff like that. So it was a good game. I mean, not saying there's not things that could have been better, but it was the first of its kind, not the first Harry Potter game, but the first of
All
its
right.
open
Right.
world. come on now, creating your own wizard, the extensive wardrobe and accessories,
Yeah.
wands, and
Oh
it
my God, yeah.
it was just a great game to me. I've been debating, like I'll go to download a new game or
Mm.
an old game that I have, and I always stop on Hogwarts for like 10 seconds, and I'm like, I'll do it soon. I'll replay it again soon.
That's the only game I have installed right now, so I'm right there.
And my number two would be obviously Baldur's Gate for the reasons that you explained and we just went over. And my number three would be Spider-Man. And that's
That's yeah.
I'm I've been back and forth into Spider-Man because of Baldur's Gate, so I hadn't finished that one yet. I just all over the map, man, all over the map. It's hard for me to finish games, especially with you know, like earlier. I'm trying to play the video game. My son kept running in here asking me to come help him with his game because they make these Lego games incredibly hard.
Oh,
Like,
fun. It's like, guys, I want this for my kid and me. Like, make the easy mode easy,
no,
please.
like I played a little bit with him, not a lot. It's like I bought this for him so I could put like that was on my mind so I can play my
Yeah,
game by myself, like these story-driven games. Like it took me
right.
too long to finish Cyberpunk.
See, that game, that will like, I mean, I feel like that game was meant to take a while. Like, there's a decent amount to that game too.
It is a good slow burn, but
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years though,
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
because I got it and played it for a second and then stopped. That's my MO. That's
But
how I.
now that I have the new Phantom Library, uh, not library, Phantom Liberty.
Yeah,
Where is it? Yeah, and that I've been enjoy. I enjoyed that while I was playing it. I was like, this is cool. This is like a nice addition to have
and I still have.
because like they also make it so you could still completely skip it if you want to. They're like, you don't have to do it, but like, here's a new thing we gave you.
I'm going to though. I need
Yeah,
to.
it's real cool, especially Idris Elba's character overall. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
Like he does I think he does great at like any role he really throws
I
himself
mean,
at.
you have Keanu Reeves and Idris Elba in the same game. That's insane, right?
Mhm.
Right? I'm not
Yeah, wild.
like that's insane.
That's so yeah, it's like wow, how'd you guys do that?
The very, very good. Kudos to you guys for pulling that off. They need to have more actors like that in video games, like at themselves, not just the voices of certain.
Right. Yeah, 100% agree. Like I think it'd be a cool aspect because just the overall acting, I think, would make it so people will dive in more because they're so well known in the movies. They're like, oh yeah, I'll do this.
Since we're talking about top threes, what was your top three movies of last year?
Top three movies of last year. Um, okay, so oh man, God, that's tough. Um, all right, so like kind of off the top of my head, movies that at least stuck out to me
You
the
want me to go
most.
first and give you a second?
Um, maybe because like no, I'm gonna go with this.
Go.
I'm just gonna go with this gut feeling I got. So the movies that stood out the most to me, my number one that I truly enjoyed a lot was They Cloned Tyrone. I fucking loved that movie. I thought that was just so perfect.
I
I
now
was
have
like,
to adjust my list because I completely forgot about that movie. It
dude,
was
I loved it. I
it was
loved it. It was cool to see John Boyega in such a cool role like that, and Jamie Foxx just doing his thing as a pimp.
it was so it was if those of you that have not seen They Clone Tyrone, don't stop this podcast. After this podcast, watch They Clone Tyrone.
Yeah, 100%.
Seriously.
So cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm
Oh my God.
just my list with that one. Go ahead.
So then the second movie would be White Noise, and that starred Adam Driver. And holy shit, man, that movie was
I had to watch it
I
twice.
thought I had it figured out. I truly did. I was like, I have this movie figured out because they set it up like as an end of the world type of movie where Adam Driver's character is a history professor that teaches about Hitler.
Dude, he played
It's just like,
very good too. Like it was
yeah,
so
it's so wild. I'm like, what in the fuck is this movie? And then, oh God, the other would be, see, I'm going through my voodoo. Because I'm like, these are the movies that I bought that I made sure I wanted to keep. So I was like, oh man, let's see. The third one would probably have to be, oh God, that's real close. Oh man, that's I might have to go with I might have to go with oh damn it. You know what? I think I might have to go with I'm probably honestly gonna go with John Wick 4.
mm,
Um
that's funny.
I
That's
I
what
loved
that's
it.
what I pushed out for the clone. I was like, all right, John Wick, you're out. Tyrone, you're in.
Yeah, I think it might have to be John Wick 4. Because the like honorable mention that I'm like fighting with right now was the Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, man. I truly enjoyed that. It was such a cool look at the Hunger Games world in the earlier days. Like watching snow become snow. I was like going in, I'm like, I know I'm gonna hate this guy. I have to hate him. But then they show you his like origin story, and you're like, but then you also see like when you see the moment he breaks, it's just like, oh man, like I get it.
It's on our list to
I
watch because we still hadn't watched it. My wife is a huge Hunger Games fan. She read all the books and everything. And I didn't read the books or anything, but I watched the movies for the most part. If I remember them all that well, but I love them. I need to watch the newest one. But last year was a down year for me in movies. Not like saying the movies weren't good. It's like it's the least amount of movies I've ever watched in a year.
right. You're like, yeah,
So I'm pretty sure I could probably count on like two or three hands how many movies I watched this year. I mean, I may have watched more, but in one year out the other sometimes.
right.
My top three movies from last year. Number one, They Clone Tyrone, obviously.
Such a good movie.
Number two, The Creator.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's on Hulu. Watch The Creator. Denzel Jr.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He is in that. Okay. Yeah, I'm sold.
Dude, it is so weird watching him act, or not even watching him, watching and listening to him act, because he doesn't really look like Denzel. He has the facial
Nope.
features. They got the same nose, the same brow and lip, but
Right.
you could see that he looks more like his mother.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who his mother is, but like he doesn't look like Denzel, but he sounds exactly
Exactly like him.
Denzel. It's freaky listening to him talk. It's incredible. In the movie reminded me of The Golden Child. You remember that movie?
Oh
That
my God, yeah.
it reminded me of The Golden Child, like a very, very, very sci-fi
Yeah.
futuristic Golden Child. I don't want to spoil much of the movie for you because it is truly a great movie. It may be better than They Clone Tyrone, but They Clone Tyrone is
Nice.
just like insane and super creative and very funny. It had almost everything you can ask for in They Clone Tyrone. And my
Dope.
number three movie
Dope movie.
was Across the Spider Verse. I'm sorry, I love that movie.
That
I
was a great one. That was a really, really good one. Yep.
enjoyed that movie, and it was so long, and I'm like near the end, you're like, wait, when is it going to end? Because they're not really close. Like,
No.
and then it ends, and I'm like, okay, it was like a love hate thing. Like, I
Yeah.
love that it's like they left us on that. left us room for another one, but
Mhm.
like God, I wanted to see the ending.
You're like all this buildup, and you're like, ha. Full stop. God,
Literally full stop.
full full stop.
Oh man. Speaking of movies, Star Wars announced Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Yeah,
Like,
that I think that'll be a good way to wrap their stuff up, to like kind of wrap up that kind of Mandalorian, or like the Mandalorian story specifically about Pedro Pascal's character,
mhm.
and now it, give it a name change and have it focus on what's her name? Ooh, I'm drawing a blank on is her name's
But from
not
the
Sabine. Uh, God, what is her name? I am drawing a blank.
as
Either way,
I know you.
um, but yeah, I think like giving her the main story focus going forward would be a really good idea. Like watching the actual rebuild of the Mandalorian Empire now. I think that's a really cool way to run with it. So I think this movie is a good idea.
I looked it up and they said Rosario Dawson. It's like no, she plays the
No,
she plays the
yeah.
Ahsoka.
They're like, no,
Ooh,
no, no, no.
Ahsoka season 2 is coming out too. Mm,
That's true.
can't wait for that. Uh,
Oh, and I guess honorable mention, uh, Obi-Wan, the series. God, that was good.
oh, just for things in general that you saw
Yeah.
this year. Yeah,
Yep.
Obi-Wan. I was planning on rewatching that here soon. Just because I sped through it so fast
Yep.
and a lot I say this a lot. A lot goes on in my house. Sometimes I gotta stop, pause, do some things, you know. Our
Yep. I had it on again in the background while I was working the other day here at home, and I'm like, God, this is such a good series.
so good. I don't know why a lot of people like there's a lot of people that liked it like more than usually for like the
Mhm.
Star Wars thing, something comes out and there's a bunch of haters.
Right.
But there, it didn't get everything it deserved, like for like as their flowers, I feel like.
Right.
Um, ooh, can't wait for Godzilla King
That'll
Kong.
be dope.
Ooh,
Yep.
that's going to be great. There's been a lot of good Godzilla like
Mhm.
cartoons and things that came out over the years. I, I've always loved